Where do we start with the Vatican? The secret archives.
Yeah. What's in there?
So many rumors about what's down there. The Vatican Secret Archives, they're down under the Vatican. They're called the Apostolic Archives. You can't go there. I mean, you can. You can. People can go to the Vatican archives. You have to get permission. There's like a 10 to 15 year wait, and you have to tell them what you want to see before you go. So, and while you're there, you can't touch anything. Someone will turn the pages for you and all of that. So you kind of can't go there. But rumored to be down there is the Spear of Destiny. The Ark of the Covenant is supposed to be down there. The
What is the
menorah.
Spear of Destiny?
That is the Spear of Destiny, or the Holy Lance, was with the Roman soldier pierced Christ when he was on the cross. That's the Spear of Destiny. That was something that Hitler was very interested in finding. Hitler was chasing these artifacts all over the place. As soon as the Nazis conquered France, they started digging everywhere. Like the Chartres Cathedral was where the Ark was supposed to be. They were digging up everywhere looking for stuff. It's like Indiana Jones, which got a lot of those things right. My favorite object that's supposed to be down there is called the Chronovisor. And this is an object that lets you see through time. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
I don't think I have.
So chrono means time, visor means see. So this is an object that you can see through time. It was invented by, his name is Pellegrino Arnetti. Father Pellegrino Arnetti was, he was a priest, but he was also a physicist, and he was like an expert at music. And he was working with, I think his supervisor was Father Jim Melly. He's working at a university or something. And what they're doing is they're studying Gregorian chants and listening to records and cataloging things. And they're listening to one record, and Father Jim Melly says, "I recognize that voice." And they play it back, and I'm like, "Well, who's that?" He's like, "That's my father." I'm like, "Well, what is he saying?" He said, "Well, he's talking about leather and prices and..." Well, it turns out his father was like a shoemaker, like a cobbler, and he heard his father's voice selling somebody shoes. So they end up isolating these voices and come to the conclusion that all the objects around us are vibrating with an energy and picking up all the conversations. Everything we're saying is getting absorbed into everything around us. And that if you can tune into the right frequency, you can hear that. And if you can really zero in on it, you can see what's going on. And Father Ernetti gets together this group of rock star physicists led by Enrico Fermi, who worked on the Manhattan Project, a heavy hitter, and 9 or 10 others. And they build this device called the Chronovisor. And Father Ernetti goes and he looks back at Mussolini's speeches, and then he goes back further and he's looking at watching old Roman plays that no longer exist. And what really put it on the map was he took a picture of Christ's crucifixion and released it. And it's a wild photograph because it's Jesus Christ on the cross.
Wow.
And so he releases that to the public, and it hits the newspapers, especially in Italy, like crazy. I think this was the 60s, and becomes a sensation. So I covered that story, but ended up finding out that the Christ in his photograph looks an awful lot like a Christ statue that was carved somewhat recently to that era that was in a cathedral in Spain. And it turned out that that's really what it was he had this photograph that he said he saw Christ, but it was just his photograph of the statue. And then he backtracked a little bit and he said, well, this is really the photograph and the statue's based on this, but that's not what happened. So the Chronovisor is just this legend, but according to the story, the Vatican releases a statement at some point that says that anyone who's caught trying to look or listen through time is excommunicated. And that's kind of how that story ends. I couldn't find any evidence of that.
Wow. Man, I thought you were going towards, I just watched this episode about this device. I saw it on this, I can't remember if it was Graham Hancock or Builders of Ancient Mysteries or something. Bam. And they found this device at the bottom of the ocean, supposedly. You ruined it for me, AJ.
The Antikythera mechanism?
Is that the thing where they found it and it had like all these gears and
Yes.
none of the watchmaker, like they had Hublot come out and they were the only ones that were able to replicate it. And it was supposedly like this, I don't know, 12,000-year-old device or something. And it perfectly simulated the rotation of the solar system.
Yes, and the stages of the moon and a lot of different things. It was like a mechanical almanac is what it was. that all these phases of the moon.